Connor, Rachel Jones, and Cheryl Murphy for a special edition of Meet the Press called Meet the Speds. Our guests today have just completed extensive training in the field of special education. Rachel Jones is an expert in the field of special education and has experience working with middle school students with special needs. Cheryl Murphy is an expert in the field of science education with 20-plus years working with high school students with learning disabilities. Ms. Jones and Ms. Murphy, good morning and welcome to Meet the Press. Today we'll be discussing strategies teachers must use when teaching students that learn differently. We'll begin by hearing why teachers need to make these accommodations. Rachel, as an expert working with students with disabilities, can you tell us why we need to make accommodations for some students and not others?
Yes, Stephanie. Actually, I'm glad that you opened with that question. I think it's important to start our discussion this morning. Students with learning disabilities hold certain characteristics that require the need for extra support in the general education classroom. For example, some students with learning disabilities have difficulty with memory and also with organization. It's difficult for our students sometimes to organize auditory information as well as written information. And it's also difficult for them to organize their materials as far as notebooks, assignments. They may do a homework assignment and stick it in the wrong notebook or forget to bring it to class. So organization, assignments, agendas are difficult for them to manage. It's also difficult for them to monitor themselves when they're reading. Reading does present difficulty in content area classes as far as fluency with the reading, decoding the text, and comprehending the text.
Cheryl, what are some strategies that you as a general education teacher can use when working in your inclusive classroom?
Well, Stephanie, there are many strategies that a teacher can use in their general ed classroom. For example, class-wide peer tutoring, the use of graphic organizers, guided notes, mnemonic devices, and even reading comprehension strategies such as CSR have been effective for students with learning disabilities.
Now, as we're all aware, with the recent No Child Left Behind that was passed back in 2000, schools are required to use research-validated practices for instruction and assessment. Cheryl, the strategies you just mentioned, are they in fact research-based?
Yes, all these strategies are supported by research. Note-taking skills are very important. Research shows that students who are trained in effective note-taking perform better on classroom tests than students who are not trained in effective note-taking. Guided notes are a great way to help these students. Master Perry and Scruggs have done a lot of research on graphic organizers and their effectiveness in the classroom. And also research says that if you give graphic organizers along with guided notes, that there will be more learning. Also, reading comprehension strategies are among the most thoroughly researched strategies. Extensive work's been done by Berkeley, Gersten, and Master Perry, just to name a few. CSR is a reading comprehension strategy that was developed by Klinger, Vaughn, and Shum, and it's a multi-component reading approach that's shown to be effective with all students. It combines comprehension strategies and cooperative learning.
Now, Cheryl, you just mentioned reading comprehension a good bit. If you find reading to be an area of difficulty in your science inclusion class?
Yes, reading is an area of difficulty in science. Science textbooks tend to be difficult to read and above the reading level of many of my students.
Rachel, as a special education expert, what are some suggestions special education teachers in the different content areas can use to help students with difficulties in reading?
I think we can teach our students to preview the text, especially at the beginning of the year, to look to see how it's laid out, to make sure that they understand the graphs and the way that it's organized to help them better understand the text. Even before they read a chapter, make sure that they know how the text is organized to increase comprehension. Also, as teachers, we can preview the unfamiliar vocabulary in the text to make sure that they don't get stuck on a vocabulary word that they're not familiar with that would inhibit the comprehension of the passage. And also, we need to provide background knowledge before they read so that they will have something to bring to the table and they'll interact more with the text. And graphic organizers are a great way to break down the text into simpler ideas. And I think these strategies are beneficial to all students and not just students with learning disabilities. And I also think it's important that we model these strategies explicitly, offer guided practice with corrective feedback, and let them try it on their own and then review.
Now, as educational experts, I'm sure you're familiar with the journal Intervention in School Clinic. I was recently reading an article from a 2007 issue of that journal where McCleskey and Waldron suggest that a goal for all classrooms must be to expand the circle of tolerance so that a broader range of behaviors are tolerated and supported so that student differences become an ordinary part of the school day. Rachel and Cheryl, do you agree with this goal? We'll start with you, Rachel.
Absolutely. I think a lot of times our students with learning disabilities will stigmatize the classroom and they feel like they stick out because they're having extra help or supports, and I think it's important to make it as discreet as possible by offering it to other students when possible.
Cheryl, do you agree with the goal that we must expand the circle of tolerance?
Yes, I agree, and it's very important. And in order for this to happen, in order to meet the needs of all of our students, the special ed teacher and the general education teacher must work together.
Ms. Jones, Ms. Murphy, thank you for being here today. And once again, we're at Clemson University. It's Meet the SPEDS.
Okay, I think we got it.
I think we did it.
Yes, I think so.
I had a few little blunders.